Is it difficult to have one of our Nexus devices get set up so that it can be managed by a graphical user interface like the DCNM? The answer is no, and I'd like to show you in this nugget. Let's go ahead and make sure our Nexus 7K is set up for that access, and then let's fire up the DCNM and make sure we can see that Nexus in all of its glory inside the graphical user interface. Now your Cisco devices, it's really going to vary from device to device and graphical user interface to graphical user interface, but one thing's going to stay pretty consistent, and that's the fact that there will need to be changes made on the device via a command line interface, for example, in order to eventually manage that device from some fancy graphical user interface. For instance, in the world of the NXOS, we have to go in and enable particular features that might not be enabled ordinarily. This is really great and helps to keep things very efficient on these NXOS devices. And think about it, it can really reduce the attack surface that's available on the particular device. Don't need a particular feature, don't want to be attacked by that particular feature, then don't actually enable that feature. Here I turn on the SSH feature functionality, and then I say SSH server enable, and we enable that particular functionality. Now, show commands can be run right from global configuration mode, so we can always verify right from that mode, seeing that SSH version 2 is indeed enabled on this particular device. I could even go in and show the SSH key, the RSA key in this case, that is being utilized in order to secure this device when we engage in remote access to this device from our graphical user interface. Something else we want to be aware of is CDP. So I'll say show Cisco Discovery Protocol Global, show CDP Global, to ensure that Cisco Discovery Protocol is enabled globally. And how about our management interface? I can do show CDP interface management 0. And we can see that yes, CDP is enabled on this particular interface, and that's good news. Now, one thing that I'll do here on this Nexus 7K is I'll configure the logging system to log messages about interface link status change events. Notice that the Cisco Data Center Network Manager requires log messages for some Cisco NXOS features. So I'll say logging event link status enable, and then we'll follow this up with logging event link status default. On this particular device, I also am going to want to store system messages that are severity level 6 or lower into a log file. This is also needed for a nice interaction with Cisco DCNM. So I'll say logging log file messages six. And there we have it. A show, run, pipe include log file will allow me to review that this particular system has indeed been manipulated with my logging configuration. Beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and enable this logging server and verify that it's operational. So I'll go logging server enable, and then our verification here will be show logging server. And we can see that the server is enabled. It's temporarily unreachable, but we can see that fact rerunning this command, yeah, this server is temporarily unreachable is something that will go away here in just a few moments. So I think we are ready to go over to our graphical user interface and begin our management of this particular device from the GUI. Now, by the way, there is going to be a piece of information we need here, and that is the management IP address of this particular device. So while I'm here, I'm going to say show IP interface brief, and we're going to say VRF is going to be management. So there we go. That's a number I'm going to want to jot down here. That is 10.2.8.27. 10.2.8.27. Got it. All right, well, now I think we are indeed ready to leverage the power of DCNM for this particular Nexus 7K. Well, now let's fire up the Data Center Network Manager. I'll just log in here to our device. This is the local device of our system, 10.2.8.247. And now you can see we are in the DCNM product. And notice all of these drawers that we have over here on the left-hand side. For instance, we have fiber channel over Ethernet. We could select that particular drawer, and then we would see all of the options that we have inside of that particular drawer. Now, notice what is the default setting when we come in the DCNM here, and that is for us to do a discovery. Now, we want to discover the devices that are out there that we are going to manage in our data center environment. Another way that you could easily get to this important device discovery environment would be to go to the Go menu, and you would come down to DCNM Server Administration, and from there you would have the device discovery option. So we're going to input our seed device, and that's at 10.2.8.27 as we saw earlier on our Nexus 7K. We are going to discover 2 hops from that particular device. Notice it will complete our username. Our username is admin on that particular device. That's perfect. And then pod2 NXOS. And we are going to leave the enable password field blank. And then we would say start discovery in order to discover dynamically those devices that we are responsible for. Obviously, in a lab environment like this, we only have a couple of devices, but the idea is to really give you a sense of just how easy it would be in order to utilize the DCNM to manage your devices. Now, sure enough, once your devices are discovered, you can begin to manipulate them in the graphical user interface. For instance, here I have selected inventory, and there we can see our Nexus 7K inside the inventory drawer of the DCNM. When I expand it, we can begin to see the various ingredients inserted in that Nexus 7K. And what really jumps out at us as we navigate this particular interface is just the intense amount of options that are in here. And notice when you select a particular ingredient, you'll get additional information down below. Here we are in the interfaces area, and you can see we have physical, logical, traffic monitoring interfaces, fabric extender, port profile information, all of this just a click of the mouse away, and then lots more details on the right-hand side of the screen and even in a details pane below. So, the Data Center Network Manager, a very, very powerful interface. And again, a lot of administrators might use this from a configuration standpoint or a management standpoint or both of those particular utilizations. So in this nugget, we took a look at the preparation of a Nexus 7K to ensure it was ready for DCNM management. And then we fired up that DCNM in order to view that device in the GUI. I sure hope this nugget was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.